All right, here we go. This is Engalandia from Sovryn. I work in partnerships and integrations. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. I will kick off this call with a quick freestyle and just kick back and enjoy the show. Engalandia from Sovryn, about to light up the flames. Lend, borrow, swap. Yeah, you know the place. Here's a couple updates for the OGs and new boys. SOV listed on Ascendix Gate and KuCoin. Trading volume rising up, hitting new scales. Hats off to the builders, shipping without fail. We're working on exciting new products and features. Smart contracts are not exclusive to Ether. But what if I said this is bigger than flipping tokens? Long-term vision, a society unbroken, ungoverned by outside centralized forces. Something to put your hope in. Distributed but focused, spreading like locusts while going unnoticed. The time is now, people. Wake up and smell the Folgers. Bitcoin, a beacon for digital property rights. Now we're here to spread it everywhere in sight. Awesome. So thanks everyone for being here. Thank you for listening. Thanks for joining us in this mission. So the guidelines are, if you'd like to speak, raise your hand, wait patiently, and we'll bring you up on stage. And if before we go through the agenda, is there anyone here for the first time who would like to introduce themselves and say hello? Simply raise your hand and we'll bring you up. Alrighty, let's kick it off with Light on governance. Can anyone hear Light?
No. No, still not. You might need to leave and enter again.
Okay, yeah. Light, we'll need you to hop back in. In the meantime, do we have Exiled Surfer here to speak about the Chaos event? Are you able to join us on stage, or do I have to invite you?
Testing.
Yeah, now we can hear you live.
Okay, all right, we can hear Light now, but we'll bring up Exiled a bit later.
All right. Great. So, hello everyone. Yes, there are a few things happening in the land of Plutocracy. I'll start from the oldest event to the most recent. So, earlier in September, SOV was added as collateral for borrowing to the lending and borrowing protocol. So now people can use their SOV as collateral to get a loan on Sovryn. And with that, SOV margin long trading was enabled. So people can use their SOV as collateral to borrow stable coins, which they can then use to or RBTC to go long on SOV. That is not financial advice, but that feature seems to be popular recently. So now that SIP, as I said, has been approved. The next two SIPs that are under consideration right now are adding concentrated staking revenues and splitting fees with SOV stakers. These SIPs are somewhat related in that for the first SIP, concentrated staking revenues, is a SIP that's being put forward to proposed that all of the revenues that are currently going to all stakers would be concentrated only on stakers who have a fully vested SOV. So broadly speaking, there are kind of two groups of people in the staking protocol right now. Those whose SOV is locked in a vesting contract and those whose SOV is not locked.
We can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, like may want to fix that. I think something went out. Pardon the microphone issues, everyone. All right, welcome back, Light. Yep, we hear you.
That's weird because I can hear you, but for some reason my voice keeps dropping out. Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
We heard that there are two types of stakers on the system: those who have their SOV in a staking and a vesting contract, and those who have voluntarily staked the tokens.
Right. Okay, thank you. And sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, so the consensus in the community seems to be that because the people who have SOV in the vesting contracts, that the SOV isn't really theirs yet. It's they've got to wait for it to be vested before they can really take control of it. That it would probably make the most sense to concentrate the revenues that are going to stakers only to those whose SOV is fully vested, so not encumbered by the terms of a vesting contract. And so the technical implementation of that is being worked on and planning to put that to a vote within the next couple of weeks. And then there's another change that's being proposed, which is related to staking revenues, which is about splitting fees from the AMM with SOV stakers. So basically right now, the AMM fees are going 100% to liquidity providers. And so the Sovryn treasury is or stakers aren't getting any share of the fees from the AMM. And this SIP is meant to address this perhaps a kind of misalignment of incentives, because you have stakers who are responsible for governing the AMM and ensuring that it is well parameterized and the contracts are maintained and such. But they don't really receive any sort of financial benefit for doing so. And so the proposal is basically to split the fees 0.25% to LPs, AMM LPs, and 0.05% to stakers. There's still some discussions about that. You can follow the conversation in the forum, but that is also planned to be put to a vote shortly after the concentrated staking revenues proposal.
Hey, Light, does that cover everything, or did your mic cut off again?
I can hear you, Ingalandia. Seems that today is a day of technical issues here.
Yeah, just for Light though.
I think the community stage is just totally borked. And
hello.
Yeah. All right, we hear you again. He has,
Yeah.
he has to reconnect every 10 minutes or 5 minutes
Very,
or so.
very sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah. So there were two other proposals. I'll try to get through them before my mic cuts out again. Related to Origins. So one is actually about Origins itself, basically spinning out Origins to be its own sub protocol. We talked about sub protocols on a few of the past community calls, and Origins is proposed to be among the first sub protocols, and so that proposal is also still under discussion. You can find the conversation in the forum. And then there's another project called Mintlayer that is proposing to launch on Origins. They also have a kind of contingency in their or condition in their proposal that, you know, if they're approved to launch on Origins, then Sovryn would also kind of strongly consider launching a version of Sovryn on the Mintlayer sidechain that they are proposing to build. Or they say they have a test net going live very soon. So the chain will be live, and they want to have a version of Sovryn that operates on that chain. So that is certainly something to for the community to consider. The thread seems pretty active. It's got like more than 60 posts on it. So go check that out if you haven't already. I still need to dedicate some time myself to considering this proposal and thinking about how to
All right, here we go. This is Engelandia from Sovryn. I work in partnerships and integrations. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. I will kick off this call with a quick freestyle and just kick back and enjoy the show. Engelandia from Sovryn, about to light up the flames. Lend, borrow, swap. Yeah, you know the place. Here's a couple updates for the OGs and new boys. SOV listed on Ascendix Gate and KuCoin. Trading volume rising up, hitting new scales. Hats off to the builders, shipping without fail. We're working on exciting new products and features. Smart contracts are not exclusive to Ether. But what if I said this is bigger than flipping tokens? Long-term vision, a society unbroken, ungoverned by outside centralized forces. Something to put your hope in. Distributed but focused, spreading like locusts while going unnoticed. The time is now, people. Wake up and smell the Folgers. Bitcoin, a beacon for digital property rights. Now we're here to spread it everywhere in sight. Awesome. So thanks everyone for being here. Thank you for listening. Thanks for joining us in this mission. So the guidelines are, if you'd like to speak, raise your hand, wait patiently, and we'll bring you up on stage. And if before we go through the agenda, is there anyone here for the first time who would like to introduce themselves and say hello? Simply raise your hand and we'll bring you up. Alrighty, let's kick it off with Light on governance. Can anyone hear Light?
No. No, still not. You might need to leave and enter again.
Okay, yeah. Light, we'll need you to hop back in. In the meantime, do we have Exiled Surfer here to speak about the Chaos event? Are you able to join us on stage, or do I have to invite you?
testing.
Yeah, now we can hear you live.
Okay, all right, we can hear Light now, but we'll bring up Exiled a bit later.
All right. Great. So, hello everyone. Yes, there are a few things happening in the land of photocracy. I'll start from the oldest event to the most recent. So, earlier in September, SOV was added as collateral for borrowing to the lending and borrowing protocol. So now people can use their SOV as collateral to get a loan on Sovryn. And with that, SOV margin long trading was enabled. So people can use their SOV as collateral to borrow stable coins, which they can then use to or RBTC to go long on SOV. That is not financial advice, but that feature seems to be popular recently. So now that SIP, as I said, has been approved. The next two SIPs that are under consideration right now are adding concentrated staking revenues and splitting fees with SOV stakers. These SIPs are somewhat related in that for the first SIP, concentrated staking revenues, is a SIP that's being put forward to propose that all of the revenues that are currently going to all stakers would be concentrated only on stakers who have a fully vested SOV. So broadly speaking, there are kind of two groups of people in the staking protocol right now. Those whose SOV is locked in a vesting contract and those whose SOV is not locked.
We can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, like may want to fix that. I think something went out. Pardon the microphone issues, everyone. All right, welcome back, Light. Yep, we hear you.
That's weird because I can hear you, but for some reason my voice keeps dropping out. Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
We heard that there are two types of stakers on the system: those who have their SOV in a staking and a vesting contract, and those who have voluntarily staked the tokens.
Right. Okay, thank you. And sorry for the technical difficulties. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, so the consensus in the community seems to be that because the people who have SOV in the vesting contracts, that the SOV isn't really theirs yet. It's they've got to wait for it to be vested before they can really take control of it. That it would probably make the most sense to concentrate the revenues that are going to stakers only to those whose SOV is fully vested, so not encumbered by the terms of a vesting contract. And so the technical implementation of that is being worked on, and planning to put that to a vote within the next couple of weeks. And then there's another change that's being proposed, which is related to staking revenues, which is about splitting fees from the AMM with SOV stakers. So basically right now, the AMM fees are going 100% to liquidity providers. And so the Sovryn treasury is or stakers aren't getting any share of the fees from the AMM. And this SIP is meant to address this perhaps kind of misalignment of incentives because you have stakers who are responsible for governing the AMM and ensuring that it is well parameterized and the contracts are maintained and such. But they don't really receive any sort of financial benefit for doing so. And so the proposal is basically to split the fees 0.25% to LPs, AMM LPs, and 0.05% to stakers. There's still some discussions about that. You can follow the conversation in the forum, but that is also planned to be put to a vote shortly after the concentrated staking revenues proposal.
Hey, Light, does that cover everything, or did your mic cut off again?
I can hear you in Colombia. Seems so today is a day of technical issues here.
Yeah, just for Light though.
I think the community stage is just totally borked. And
hello.
Yeah. All right, we hear you again. He has to reconnect every 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Very,
or so.
Very sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah, so there were two other proposals. I'll try to get through them before my mic cuts out again. Related to Origins. So one is actually about Origins itself, basically spinning out Origins to be its own sub-protocol. We talked about sub-protocols on a few of the past community calls. Origins is proposed to be among the first sub-protocols. And so that proposal is also still under discussion. You can find the conversation in the forum. And then there's another project called Mintlayer that is proposing to launch on Origins. They also have a kind of contingency in their or condition in their proposal that if they're approved to launch on Origins, then Sovryn would also kind of strongly consider launching a version of Sovryn on the Mintlayer sidechain that they are proposing to build. Or they say they have a test net going live very soon, so the chain will be live, and they want to have a version of Sovryn that operates on that chain. So that is certainly something to for the community to consider. The thread seems pretty active. It's got like more than 60 posts on it. So go check that out if you haven't already. I still need to dedicate some time myself to considering this proposal and thinking about how to.
This is just usability friendly, but it can also be done directly on the testnet. And then these parties, these three layers, can observe the order on the testnet. And when they see that the conditions are met, they can execute them, and they get a certain fee for it. So this is taken from your tradable amount. Yeah, and then the order is executed by the relayer. This means that you already need to give your token transfer approval in advance. So you need to approve the AMM that it can transfer your tokens. Or in case that it's RBTC you would like to trade, you would need to deposit the RBTC into the settlement contract first. So you could withdraw it anytime, but else we cannot execute the order if the RBTC is not deposited first. Yes, there's one thing to mention, and this is that canceling orders is not free. It shouldn't cost much because it's just a flag, so it would be a few cents, but still worth mentioning because orders have to be canceled for security reasons on mainnet, because else the mainnet contract could not verify if you canceled your order or not, and people would have the option to execute your order even though you do not want it to be executed anymore.
Makes sense. So much. Thanks for the explanation, and yeah, I really hope you don't kill yourselves on the workload you're experiencing every day. That almost brings me to the initial question about, it was raised in the forum, and I find it maybe a very good way to clarify some things on the Mintlayer launch or SIP, so to say, and the required dev resources and how, yeah, how's the progress, what is needed on the dev side, and how you think it is going, or some, I don't know, official or not official statement, how you think this is going forward?
With Mintlayer, well, I can tell you that we haven't yet scheduled anything into the dev plan, which is mostly because our dev plan is focusing on the nearest future, as we are deciding a lot of things very spontaneously in last minute. So our development plan is not developed for a very long time. So we will need to schedule in the resources for that as required, but we are seeking to keep the resources on our team as light as, like the requirements on our team as light as we can.
All right, and we have Andreas chiming in. Welcome.
Hey guys, yeah, so thanks so much for bringing up. Just here to say that we haven't spoken to Aurora yet personally, but we welcome the opportunity to do so. We know that obviously what we're proposing demands a lot from Sovryn's developers, and that you guys are swamped right now. So we want to keep all of that in consideration, and to see how we can help you with our resources as well. If there's anything that we can do to help with what we've got on our side. So yeah, just I know I'm going to meet a few of you guys tomorrow and over the weekend in Prague, as we're also sponsoring the Chaos event. But just to let you know that we're really looking forward to talking.
Nice, thanks. I personally will not be on the conference in Prague, but I'm sure that you will have good conversations with the other team members.
Cool. Thanks very much, Andreas. That was Andreas from the Mintlayer project. Let's move
on. Hey guys, huge shout out and congratulations on all the hard work that you guys are doing. I love the speed in which you guys are shipping all this innovation. I just had a quick question around the borrow feature, like the UI. Just wondering if at some point we might have the UI allow the users to adjust the collateral ratio when they're borrowing funds. Right now it looks like it's set in stone.
Yeah, no, we were planning to do that, but we have at the moment higher priority stuff come in, like perp swaps. So it's in the backlog and will be coming. Just bear with us.
Yeah, no worries. Perfect, thank you.
So actually, I had one question of Aurora. Where is the team at in triaging the issues with margin trading as it exists now? I know that there's been an assessment, and maybe you could fill in the community on where the team is at in solving those issues.
Sure. So there were two issues. One issue is an incorrect estimation price, which is shown on the confirmation window, which is diverging from the price which you actually receive when opening a margin trade. And we figured out that this is due to a different input size when it comes to estimating the swap rate which will be used, and it is not that simple for the front end to calculate that rate, but we are already on a solution which is actually better than any estimation we could do on the front end, and this is using tenderly simulations. Tenderly simulations allow us to simulate the outcome of the transaction before the transaction is actually mined, which means that we will have exactly the amount which the smart contract will like exactly the positions as in the rate which the smart contract will use before the trade is being made. So this issue should then be issue of the past. The second issue we had was the P&L calculation, and there a lot of things weigh in. So on the P&L calculation, the current price is currently calculating using the swap rate of the AMM. And the swap rate of the AMM, in contrast to the last traded price that you're seeing on the price chart, is considering the slippage. So especially if you're having a big position, the slippage, if you would close a complete trade in a single go, can be considerable. So like I said, it depends on the size of your position. And so the price which is used here is the worst possible rate if you would be closing the complete position and be closing the complete position while receiving your profit and your collateral in the currency of the loan rather than the currency of the collateral. This means that for a Bitcoin long position, if you're closing the position and the collateral, and you say you want to receive your collateral and your profit in Bitcoin, then it comes much cheaper. You will get a much better rate than if you decide to close the position and take your profit in dollar. That's simply because all of your position is held in Bitcoin. And if you are withdrawing Bitcoin, then you have to swap less Bitcoin back to dollar than if you would withdraw your profit in dollar as well, because then you have to swap the complete position size. So what we're going to do here to avoid the price confusions, we decided that we're going to use the last traded price for the P&L calculation on the open position list, but to also show the estimated slippage if you were to close the trade right now. And then if you are pressing the close button and you have all of the options, like how much of the position to close and which currency to close it, you will see then the actual rate. And the actual rate again will be coming from the simulations, so it should be exact.
All right, thanks a lot, Aurora. Let's move on with.
And what sort of time frame are you looking at to be able to implement those updates?
Excel, for the sake of time, I think we should move, let's get through the updates first, if that's okay. Can we have Zoo with design updates?
Hey guys, the first kind of news I've got for you guys is so as Aurora was saying, we're currently building the perp swaps. Now this will be a kind of MVP version, so it's going to be kind of experimental. So we will be putting it in our new branded thing called Sovryn Labs. So moving forward, I think projects like Zero will probably take a stepping stone in Sovryn Labs before they move out and become one of these sub protocols, so that we can kind of test really how these interfaces are working. So because of that, we're kind of going through a slight rebrand at the moment, which will take a little bit of time. just so that we can create consistency across all of these different brands. So that's going to be quite interesting. In terms of like the structure, I've been telling you over the last community calls that we've been restructuring stuff in the background. It looks like we're going to merge part of our back end team with the front end team, so that we have a more full stack team. This should allow us to become unblocked by each other, having these different teams. It also allow for the developers to kind of work a bit more up and down the stack, so that we don't get bottlenecked, and everyone has a more understanding of the code. So moving on from there, we've been working on the trading interfaces that will come out with the limit orders that Aurora was talking about, and they should have some nice little UI updates in there. For instance, like when you're selecting what pairs you want to use, it's going to be a lot nicer than what we've got at the moment. So I'm thankful that we've got such a patient community that allows us to update. We've got DAPI integration coming pretty soon. They're going through DD checks at the moment, but they've pretty much built everything. I've been testing it today, and it's looking good. So that will allow you to be able to spend, to basically cash out into fiat to any country, to any person in the world, with a bank account or a mobile phone. You will have to do KYC to use that service, and that's part of what our DD checks are on about at the moment, just to make sure that the way they're doing that is all in line with our Sovryn ideals. Like I said, we've been making the perp swaps, and that's looking good. It's going to be a very, very interesting product that we're going to bring you there. Zero, I believe, are working on the front end at the moment, so I assume that will be coming out through the Sovryn labs pretty soon. We're expecting the reward SOV page that allows you to get your fees in RBTC and get all your reward SOV and liquid SOV all in one place, so that you don't collect dust in different places and instead accrue it in one place and claim it at the same time. We expect that to come out around the 12th. We found a few issues when we were bug fixing on how it was all turning all the different fees into RBTC, but there's not really any big problem there. So that should be coming pretty soon. We've been working on, in the creative side of things, we've been working on a set of NFTs for the CEX launches that we've been having. I believe the adoption team are going to create some kind of marketing campaign where you can win stuff. So look out for that. We're back at creating tutorial videos. I just had a meeting today about that, and so we will hopefully be putting out new tutorial videos pretty soon. But like I said, we're rebranding, so we will be holding back slightly just so that when we release them, they'll have the new rebrand. And other than that, we're back on creating the characters for our comic book world, and soon we're going to be starting writing the first comic strip. So yeah, there's a lot on, but it's all pretty much fun. Does anyone have any questions?
We have Nimesh.
Hey, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a small suggestion in the portfolio area. Like, can you add the amount which we staked to show in the portfolio area?
Okay, so basically, the portfolio section is something I have mentioned it previously, but because of things coming in as higher priority, like perp swaps, it's been kind of put to the sideline a bit. But essentially, we're going to do a complete overhaul of the portfolio section. It'll become more of an account section where you will be able to, you'll have an overview dashboard which will show you the complete amount of everything that you've got in the system, in staking, in margin trades, in lending, and then there will be many other different pages that will show you breakdowns of that. We are still in the design stage of that at the moment, but I would hope to have that out in this quarter.
Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. Let's do one more question if someone has one, and then we can move on and introduce Malva. All right, guys. So Malva is one of the newer members in the core team. We're really excited to be working with him. He'll be coming on board full time in October to take over with adoption, which has been led by Exiled Surfer. And I just want to open the floor to him and give him a warm welcome to the core team and the community.
Great, thanks, Ingalandia. Hi, everybody. Malva here. As Ingalandia said, I start kind of officially tomorrow, my first day. I've been kind of working alongside Exile Surfer for the last month, more or less shadowing him, learning from him, and just seeing how the adoption team has been run. I'm very excited to be on board. And I suppose I'll just maybe give you a background about me, who I am, where I come from. So I studied software and hardware engineering in university. Mainly worked in tech for many years, a lot of startups. Then maybe when I was working for Microsoft in the data center as a network engineer, wanted to change career into marketing, then started working for a few startups in Europe. And the last 7 years, I've been working with 2 startups in the fintech space, mainly core banking transformation platforms. So working in traditional finance, trying to go into traditional banks with the legacy technology and try and improve it as much as we can. And since falling down the rabbit hole 2 years ago, I over time became a bit fed up with traditional land and seeing that it's unfixable. And I don't know if anybody on the call here has worked or works in traditional finance trying to set up payment gateways or transactions or accounts in different jurisdictions across the world. It's nearly impossible. It takes so long and it's so complicated that I don't know if it'll ever be fixed. So yeah, 2 years, jumped in the rabbit hole, reading the Bitcoin Standard, Austrian economics, then following the big players in the space, or the big guys like their GG, Breedlove, and then just reached out to Iago and Exiled over Twitter a couple of months ago, saying, look, I want to jump on board. This SOV or Sovryn is something that I'd love to do. I'm very passionate with the space and where it can go. And lucky enough, there was a spot for me. So great to be here, and you'll be seeing a lot more of me. Well, maybe hearing a lot more of me than seeing me. But great to be here. And I suppose I'll just give you an update about what I plan to do in the next couple of weeks or months. First thing is really build a team. That guys are, as I've seen over the last month, I've worked in startups for the last 10 years, and startup land is helter skelter, but it's nothing like Sovryn. The speed that they're delivering stuff on and the motivation in the team is just really outstanding. But having said that, we need to build more. I need to get people more on board and hire them. So you'll be seeing a few job opportunities come up over the next couple of weeks to building this team. A lot of skill sets needed, and I'll share that with the team. And if you want to reach out to me about anything, just ping me. I'm on Telegram, be on Discord, etc. Big push as well, content. We're looking to hire some content creators and maybe hire some externals in the beginning. Huge push over education about SOV, about Sovryn, what we're doing, our vision, explainer videos, animations, all that sort of stuff. And as Sue mentioned there, we're working on the new website. So we're working with a really good copy team from New York, and then Sue is working with internal design team for the brand, finish off the brand, design the website. So that's going really well so far. On the content side, you've seen Yago has been on many YouTube and Twitter Spaces. Probably the biggest one probably was the altcoin daily one. So great feedback from all of those appearances. As most of you probably know, we are now sponsoring the Need a Posh podcast. So there's 2 already up on the Sovryn YouTube channel. Many more to come. Adam Back, George Platzer, Elise Kalina coming up in her podcast. So lots going on there. And then the Sexy September. So we've launched on 3 sexes this month, and since doing that, we've been approached by many more big exchanges who want SOV on their exchange. So that's going into overdrive at the moment to get us on more sexes. So please stay tuned for that. A bit about NFTs that you mentioned before. We're coming up with a kind of a competition to get people up more on board, more involved in the SOV community or Sovryn community with SF NFTs put on. So I'll share that news with you in the next coming weeks. And as we've seen, like the SOV token, the price is going up, which is amazing and great for everyone who has it, who is staking, etc. But I suppose it's up to us, the core team and the community, if we just keep on delivering, keep working hard, as any sports coach will tell you, the scoreboard will take care of itself. So the vision for Sovryn, the reason why I joined and the reason why I'm so passionate about it, I think this could be something massive. So we just keep on working hard. I think we'll all be very happy in the future. So I won't keep us all. If you have any questions, shoot now, but you'll be seeing a lot and hearing a lot of me in the next couple of weeks and months going forward. So great to be here.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Malva. Very excited to have you working alongside us. We have one question from this.
Hi, can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Malva, I have a question for you. Welcome to the team, first of all. Good that you joined.
Great, thank you.
I really liked what you guys did in the marketing team with all the Twitter, the hype you created with the sex listings, the interviews. I think you really did well to create kind of like a momentum and hype. I feel personally, and I also try to contribute with some other people in Telegram groups and comments on YouTube, Twitter, that kind of stuff. My question is basically, I know you cannot tell about certain details, but is there anything we can expect? Can you tell us more about like next listings or a big event or something like that? That at least we can keep. I feel like we have to like keep the hype going a bit around the project to really get more adoption. Now it's hot and we are going well.
Yeah, great. Well, nice to meet you, and thanks for welcoming me on board.
Thanks.
I can't.
Just let Malva finish answering. Please mute yourself.
Sorry, dude.
No worries. Yeah, so unfortunately I can't say who these listings are, but they are pretty big. We're very excited, and we have another massive announcement next week, I think. So I'm on calls all this week and next week about a huge development down in El Salvador. So that's coming, and that will be, I think, be massive news, not only in Bitcoin space or crypto space, but normie news. So that's huge news coming. So that will start being presented. The PR plan is going for next week. So we'll have a meeting on Monday with some other, we're participating in a 4 or 5 organization plan for there. So I can't mention it now, but that's going to be 2 big things, but we'll keep you all informed. And I suppose from my point of view on the adoption team is when I build up the team, we'll be able to give you more assets and more reason, or make it a bit easier for the community to start sharing our story. And we're looking at a few tools to incentivize the community, and not only with monetary rewards or SOV or stuff like that, but talking with you and Exile, maybe launching our shop with our swag and t-shirts, caps, stickers, all that sort of stuff. So the community can share because they believe in us, but also they get some rewards, and we're figuring that out and how we can incentivize people more to participate. So fortunately, I can't give you details just yet, but yeah, lots to come.
I'd like to say something about that. So I think I spend a lot more in the channels than Malva has had the time to do, working 2 jobs and onboarding here. And I see that every time we announce something, the first thing that people say is when next thing. Yeah. And so I think the thing that I'd like the community to be able to understand as much as possible is that we're working at breakneck pace to make these things happen. And we really just cannot talk about them until the deals are done and the timelines are secure. We can't give any heads up, any hints, anything like that, because we're just not in a position to do that until things are actually happening. We're very, very careful about all of the agreements that we get involved with, the people that we get involved with, the projects, and the minute is that we know that it's actually going to happen is usually days or weeks away, and then there's a timeline about actually setting the communication for it. And we just can't give you guys any hints.
All right. Yeah. The disruption is gone. Sorry, people.
So yeah, that's just be patient with us, everybody. We give you the information as soon as it is that we know we can. Yeah.
Thanks, Exiled. Yeah, so Nimesh, thanks for the question. And I can confirm, Exiled, there, like from the month I've been kind of shadowing him and the adoption team, we learn about stuff in the morning and it's gone live in the afternoon. So as soon as we know, you guys would definitely, the community is always going to be the first to know. Always.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Is there any plans to make tutorials by big influential peoples like Altcoin Daily making a Sovryn, how to use a Sovryn DApp tutorial, or Ivan on Tech, or some big YouTubers like Box Mining?
So I think that Malva already answered to that. That we are going to be preparing learning content, and we'll be making that available both to the community and to influencers. During the AMA in Telegram, I spoke a little bit about that process of what it's like to work with paid content, and we're very, very careful about who it is that we're budgeting for sponsored content. So everything is on the table for us to move forward with that type of content, but nothing that we can confirm at this point.
And about this budgeting, are there in SIP, like in budgets we can see?
So SIP 15 gave, or 14 or 15, I forget the number again. John Light mentioned it to me this last week, but the SIP that gave authority to the Exchequer to distribute funds was approved by the community, and those are the numbers that have been named in the SIP is what will be dispersed by the Exchequer, and there's not plans for specific granular line item specification of exactly how much is spent for what inside of each of the circles budget. And that's the authority that was granted to the Exchequer by the community. So there's not additional SIPs for additional dispersals of funds. It's already under the authority of the Exchequer committee.
Awesome. I know you wanted to also say something, Exiled Surfer. I'll give you the floor since we have only 6 minutes left.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here in Prague at the Parallelnipolis venue where the Chaos conference will be happening this weekend. Unicum passed through, met him for the first time. The GIMP is in town. Looking forward to meeting the GIMP. He's also somewhere in the city with Spro, our community manager. And Hanziko is also here and will be at the conference. Malva is arriving tomorrow. Armando and Edon are both arriving as well. Betsy Braddock. We're going to have a huge presence here. The schedule is up at chaos.hcpp.cz/schedule. And there will be 3 days of live stream content, which I will be moderating. It's parallel to the talks that are happening with a lot of additional great guests. And you'll also be able to see me speak with Edon and John Light, who will be giving small abstracts of the talks that they gave here at the event. So I encourage you all to tune in to hcpp.tv starting tomorrow at 12 Central European Time. That's 10 a.m. UTC. And then on Friday night, we will also be co-sponsoring the opening night party for the event, which is called Never Touch Fiat Again. And our co-partner for that event is Materium, who are doing real-world asset NFTs. So this is the connection to the mortgage projects that we've talked about. They've also issued NFTs that are backed by physical gold delivery. So the theme of the party is Never Touch Fiat Again. And you will be able to also attend the party live stream, which is going to be a 1-hour live mix from Eclectic Method, an old VJ colleague of mine from, I guess, about 15 years, who's now very, very successful in the NFT art space. He just sold an NFT today for $240,000. I asked him if he was going to come to work tomorrow night, and he laughed. He's doing this as a friend deal for us, just because we know each other. And so there's going to be a 1-hour live stream of really cool mixes that also includes content from Iago and myself and Sovryn. So encourage you guys all tomorrow night to join us at the party virtually on YouTube, and I'll be pushing out those links.
All right, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Exiled. We got 3 minutes left, so I will zoom through the business development updates. Obviously, I can't speak on a lot of developments until things are signed and set in stone. But I can give a few. As you mentioned, or as you can see on the website, we're nearing $100 million worth of volume locked in the system, and I think that will be really huge for us, and it will open us up to a bigger stage with bigger players and a lot more supporters going public. Transact, our fiat on-ramp widget, now allows for direct purchase of RBTC with fiat alongside Bitcoin. I'm exploring the introduction of other foreign currencies into lending, borrowing, and swapping on the Sovryn DEX. So think of things like pesos, like the Brazilian real. Very curious what the community would think about that. We recently listed the RIF token, the RSK infrastructure token, and that should be accruing in the pool should be increasing rather soon. We have other players that will be pooling more into that pair. We are moving along with building the subgraph using the graph protocol, and we'll be looking to form a deeper partnership with them. The Chainlink price feeds are on testnet. We have mainnet slated for the end of October. So this will open up a lot of dApps on Ethereum that rely on Chainlink exclusively, potentially porting over to the RSK sidechain and potentially integrating with Sovryn and the assets and stablecoins that we're building. So it is 12:59 p.m. Eastern. I'd like to close this out, but still, if you guys would like to hang out, we can move over to the lounge.
and just hang out. I will turn off the recording. So thanks everyone for joining our call, being a part of our mission, carving out a trail for Bitcoin secured financial sovereignty, dismantling what people know and understand about money. So help us spread the word and create more sovereign individuals. So for those who would still like to hang out, hop over to the lounge. We will be adjourning this community call. So thanks everyone for being present. And stay sovereign.
Peace, guys.
Hey, Ingemar, thanks so much for always doing these events, man. It's really great having you lead these calls.
Oh, likewise, my pleasure.
Thanks all. See you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.